Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Plastered Dragon and another exciting episode of Drunk and Dread. It is Saturday night. It's time for us to kick off Season 2 with a bit of a bang. As you can see, we are Ghostbustered up a little bit for the theme of this. We have the Ghostbusters. We have the Ghostbuster shirt. And we have Eeyore.
That's all I had.
Thank you guys so much. As always, is tuning in tonight. Yeah, you gotta put the hood on. Thank you.
It's a jumpsuit.
It's a jumpsuit. It still works. We are so grateful for you to be joining us here. We're back here at the Plaster Dragon / Manor. So as always, be sure to follow us on Discord and tell your friends, please. We are two followers away from hitting 150 on Twitch. Before we have our sort of drunken cooking show with Brian and John, where Brian's going to cook and John's going to drink, and it's just going to be a drunken cooking show. So culinary chaos. So please tell your friends about the show and to follow us on Twitch. As always, here for Drunken Dread, you have the ability to mess with all of the players that you see here on the sofa, so you can take your hard-earned bits and donate them for the players to do certain things. Like for 200 bits, you can grant a player a power-up where they can push a challenge to another player. For 300, it is an instant obstacle for a player, no drink. They have to pull. For 500, it is the DM challenge, which we will talk about in just a second. It is a special challenge decided upon by me that they do for you guys. 1,000 bits is a blindfolded pull, where a player will have a blindfold on and they can choose one other player.
I didn't know this.
to sort of give them directions and instructions on how to pull a brick from the tower. And then, as always, 1,500, one of my favorites, is the showdown. 2 players enter, maybe 1 player leaves. 4 pulls each, back to back to back to back to back. Little match off between 2 players. The DM challenge for tonight, I had this insane idea of having someone be haunted and having another player mess with them. And then one of our players tonight shows up at the house and she goes, I picked up something really cool. It is this slime hand thing. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. You could actually put it on your hand and it sticks to stuff. And she's like, oh, it's even better. I bought 2. So there's one for the right hand and one for the left hand. So as long as slime is touching the brick, I don't care how it comes off. But that's how you're pulling a brick tonight.
I'm sorry.
And I confirm with you, this is one of the grossest feeling things I've ever... It is a sticky... slimy, sort of awfulness that I could not have dreamt about in my wildest dreams.
That's gross.
Ew.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
No, that's
The slime pull.
And this has to be on. You got a glove on.
It's going to be on
You
your
don't have
hand.
a glove.
right.
You don't have a glove.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to hold. That has to be on there when we pull a brick.
It has to be on there. Both hands. Remember, folks, for some of us that may be new, we would like to welcome our new player. Griff, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hola.
You can only use one hand when pulling. You can switch hands, but you can't do 2 hands, so it's got to be one hand.
Okay.
And then it goes back up to the top of it.
Got it.
You could use a fist.
Okay.
It's definitely a choice. And there's got to be at least 3 complete layers in between the layer that you pull from.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right, let's get started and meet our cast of characters this evening. We'll start at the end. Harriet, tell us a little bit about who you are and what your character is.
I'm Harriet Spangler. Egon is my uncle. I am his niece. And he never got the respect in our family that he should have gotten. He was practically a god in his brilliance. And all I want to see is that the Ghostbusters name continues to be untarnished, even though they do not get credit for what they deserve.
Very good. And Jackie?
I help take care of their uniforms. I keep them clean. Slime removal is my thing. Ectoplasm removal. Call me.
Okay. Ed, tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Edward Ed Touffet. They call me a crawfish. I am a native Louisianan, and I am possessed by the ghost of my sister Et, and she occasionally comes through me and speaks with my voice.
And last but certainly not least, Quincy.
I'm Quincy LeBleu, and I pretty much just joined up so that I could make some quick cash. I don't believe in none of this ghost crap.
This is our cast of characters for the Ghostbusters episode here. So before we get started, we're going to start every episode how we do every episode here at Drunken Dread. Everybody's going to raise your glass in the air. So you've got your Ecto Punch, you've got a cooler. If somebody can hand me like a beer, I'll just take whatever that beer is right there. That's good. And then we will toast to the game and to the players. Here's to all the stories from now until we're dead. Here's to you. Here's to me. And to all of you, here's Dread. And little hit to the table. Boom. All right. Welcome to the New Orleans chapter of the Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters has become a viable franchise, and they have branched out to all sorts of different cities. But what we need to establish is no franchise is exactly alike. Yes, we have some trademark things, like there's always going to be a home base of operations, and there's always going to be ways to fight ghosts, but the Ghostbusters are an innovative sort of process. And you've got Harriet, one of the great sort of young minds of her generation. You've got Jackie, who's constantly sort of developing new and unique ways to protect the Ghostbusters. Subs, 4-month subscription. Thank you, subs. You're the best. And we have our connection to sort of the ethereal side of things, where this takes place in New Orleans, one of the most haunted places in the United States. Yeah. And we also have people that are just looking to make a name for themselves. Ambition is a power in itself. So what we need to do is we need to establish what makes this Ghostbusters franchise unique. All right? So let's start over there with you, Tracy. Tracy, you can pull a brick for a good option, okay, on how you guys catch ghosts. Because I don't want it to just be the regular sort of prototype. I want a unique sort of way. You can pull a brick for the good option. You can pull 2 bricks for a great way of catching ghosts, in my personal opinion. Or you can pull 3 bricks, and I will let you narrate to me the very unique way that this group, no matter how crazy and out there it is, you guys catch ghosts.
Gosh. Tempted to pull 2 because I need to think of something.
Okay.
I'll think really fast while I pull 2 and see if I can get away with pulling a 3rd.
Okay, so I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about this particular franchise. The Ghostbusters have become, in this universe, sort of a unique name. They are popular enough that little franchises like this have popped up all over the United States. The 4 of you are actually found these ads here. They're looking for people with open minds. They were also looking for people that were contributing to the business a little bit. So each of you have actually put a little bit of your own money into this. And that's why there's a sense of control over what you guys have and what you guys are able to do here with the Ghostbusters. And so I want to get into more of the nitty gritty about you guys building the universe around you. So, okay. Explain to me the weird, unique way that this particular group of Ghostbusters catches ghosts.
Well, I have developed an app system. So if there is a person who's having a haunting experience, what they can do is we can set up a couple of cameras in their house along with a vacuum type system.
Okay.
And they can let us know if they're having any problems. They can also key into exactly what type of ghost it is, whether it's a class 1, class 2, class 3, etc. They can find out a little bit more about their particular specter. And we can also remotely vacuum the ghost, assuming that it is one that is a class 4 or below. Class 5 and above, we still have to come out to actually collect the ghost ourselves.
You've made a completely automated system. What's the name of this app called?
Bust It All.
Bust It All. Perfect. That's great. So you guys are actually, I will say that you guys are picking up a little bit of steam and becoming a little popular. You guys have money and resources now, because most of the places in New Orleans they started experiencing ghosts, but now because it's automated, because of the Bust It All app, It's great, but when you guys do have to go out there for those class 5s, tell me about the uniforms. You can pull 1 for a good option, 2 for a great option, or 3, and I will let you dictate to me what's unique and special about these outfits that the new Ghostbusters are wearing. I will say that there's been a common theme with you guys. The app has been in effect for a little bit of time, and it's, like I said, it's picked up steam, but you're noticing some weird things going on. You're noticing a rise in sort of class 5 hauntings and things like that. And we'll say that the hauntings are even on a class of like 7. With like, normally you'll see a 1 through 4, you know, a 5 is sort of unique. A 6, you've encountered like 1 or 2, but a 7 is almost a cataclysmic sort of event coming out. Like,
to be fair, class 6s are a little unique because they are manifestations of lower life forms like animals.
Perfect.
They can just be a little bit more difficult to catch.
Perfect. I love it. So tell us about these unique costumes.
Uniforms,
Please.
please. Well, they repel more slime more easily.
Oh.
And there are special pockets in them that the slime will slide right into because I saved the slime to make things with.
You save the slime to make things with. Give me at least one item that you have been using the slime to make.
Nets to catch slime monsters.
Okay, we'll say that on every outfit for a one-time use. All of the slime that you've collected has been sort of vacuumed to the back of your suit, your uniform.
Sounds good.
And you can hit the Ghostbusters sort of logo, and that slime will shoot out and capture and hold still a spectral form for a limited amount of time. Okay, so we have that. One of the unique things about the Ghostbusters is their vehicle. So I'm going to extend the same thing to you. 1 for a good option, 2 for a great, 3, you can dictate to me, however crazy you want it to be, the unique vehicle that this particular band of Ghostbusters has.
All right.
The city, tell me about the city. Does the city like you guys? Are you popular? Or are you somewhat feared?
We should be popular by now. I mean, there are people that are using the app. However, we are still virtually unknown, even through social media. I don't understand it.
Okay. So there's half and half. People in
To be fair, not everybody's haunted.
It's true. Not everybody's haunted.
It is, even in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Perhaps we need to ship in a few specters and
Drum up some business.
drum up some business then.
Now y'all talking.
That's good. How much do you guys charge? Is it a subscription for the app service?
Well, to download the app, there's a $5 fee.
Okay.
That just gives you general information about ghosts and the contact information for us. However, to get the upgrade features, you do have to pay extra. And to be able to have the on-call system and to be able to exchange information back and forth in real time, that's going to be a minimum of $250.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Yearly or monthly?
Tell me about the vehicle that this group has. Something that's going to have the power, the oomph, and the showy showmanship to draw people's attention.
Yeah, well, we wanted something that would help endear us to the community. So what we did was we grabbed a crew float that usually is only used during the parades here, and we tricked it out. I did some engine work so that it really flies. And as we're going, we can even throw out beads and coins.
You have a parade float.
We do, yes.
Yes, you do. Is there anything on the parade float?
Of course, we're on the front. We've got a great big logo for Ghostbusters.
Right.
And a New Orleans branch.
Yeah.
Underneath a crew of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it looks fantastic. It's lots of green and purple, but of course we do have some white and red. And gold.
I love this so much. So you guys go and kind of troubleshoot stuff. Now, we have our equipment, we have our uniforms, we have our vehicle. What would the Ghostbusters be without a kick-ass headquarters? So we need to talk about what the headquarters is going to be like. So the community sort of rallied it around you guys. We're actually getting close to Mardi Gras itself. And you know that as Mardi Gras starts to near, you can even be pulling bricks. as Mardi Gras gets near, there's a lot of tourists about. So a lot of the businesses are actually, that this is a good time of year to make money. And you guys could have specials and stuff like that because a lot of the places don't want ghosts or people running away from the hotel, some of the bed and breakfasts and stuff like that. So business is booming. You guys are all sort of chilling in the headquarters. You're all working on the different things. I will say this. Tell me about the ghost containment. Because I know that you guys have vacuums. Where does everything even out at?
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you've got to have some sort of containment system within the center of your operations.
Copyrighted by your uncle.
Absolutely.
So this is almost a reproduction. So you went 2. Okay. So you guys have this really great headquarters. You needed something big enough to hold the float in and to be able to park that. You needed a place that you'd be able to house this sort of containment center and things like that. So you guys actually are sharing space with a very popular bar. And it's this great sort of like party atmosphere because the first floor is actually modeled after the New York offices. And it's like, it looks like that. There's a fire pole and people sometimes dance drunk on the fire pole. But the second floor is actually your base of operations. So people can come get hurricanes and have drinks and stuff like that and party on the first floor. But on the second floor is sort of your base of operations. And is it run conservatively? Is it you guys, you tend to keep things pretty...
Well, I have a lot of concerns about the fact that we have a bar on the lower floor.
Right, of course.
It could lead to drinking and to people thinking they could just come upstairs and then our equipment could be damaged. And I understand it's meeting the bottom line and that the equipment is expensive, but I'm just not in full agreement.
Well, we
with
are
this bar.
interviewing a bouncer, aren't we? To keep people from coming upstairs when the bar's open.
That really should have been the first thing we
Yeah,
did day
well,
one when we opened the bar.
Now, Harriet, we keep the party downstairs.
Yes, so far, except for that one time.
Well, there's always going to be one.
Some of those parties draw ghosts.
There was also that one time.
And all that liquor draws conclusions.
So the 4 of you kind of get along. I feel like there's this sense of like, there's a bit of an edge here, which probably keeps everybody on their toes. Do you show an outward appearance to the public that all 4 of you get along really well, but this is a behind the scenes thing? Or does everyone sort of know?
Well, we have to gain confidence in the community. So looking like a bunch of idiots isn't the best.
It's a public image.
It is a public image. So.
Absolutely. I mean, did Spengler and Venkman get along all the time? Absolutely not. But when they were out, they were the Ghostbusters. They were a team.
Which brings us to today. It is Fat Tuesday. Okay, it's one of the big sort of party days in New Orleans. You know that there's going to be some parades. You know that the tourists are sort of flocking in, and that's when you guys get a notification while you're at your base that there is a Class 5 haunting. Okay, and you guys need to book it as fast as you can to Storybook Park. Storybook Park is this sort of creepy looking amusement park that's based off of all sorts of like funny like sort of like old stories and stuff like that. Oh, subs, thank you so much for the DM challenge to Eric, which is going to actually, everybody piles onto the float. Who drives the float when you guys go places? Who's our driver?
I'm the engine expert, so I prefer
Ed is perfect. Ed drives the float, and you guys get to the Storybook Park, and there's these like sort of like gates set up, and you see a man that's sort of like hurriedly like standing by the gates, and he's like, come on, we actually have been doing some refurbishments, and we have reports that a lot of the animatronics and some of the statues are starting to move when we don't want them to, and so I was hoping that you guys could take care of this really quickly so that we could sort of do our grand reopening in time for.
How much time do we have?
I'd prefer to get done by the afternoon. Maybe we could do like a late start.
Sure thing. Y'all got nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Ghostbusters are here.
Ask them to download the app and input their information. There's going to be a $50 registration fee to get their information to us.
That's fine. That's fine. And do I pay you guys up front or?
Oh, you can pay through the app.
Oh, okay.
The answer is yes. You do pay up front for most of it, and when we complete the job, you finish the payment.
Okay, he sort of looks down at his phone and sort of walks away to his office, and the doors sort of open up into this sort of park, and there's different sort of fairy tale outlets. The four of you are sort of looking out around you. All four of you take a drink for me.
Oh, what's that one to us?
Jesus. It is Quincy who notices something very quickly. Quincy, you notice the Little Red Riding Hood section. The door, it's a statue of Little Red Riding Hood, and a kid can walk up and stand on a certain spot and open the door, and the wolf sticks his head out. You've been here before as a kid because you're also a native here. And you notice that the doors are sort of shaking a little bit. It's going like something stuck behind it. So you walk up slowly towards it, and you have your vacuum sort of hoses out, so that you can send this. So what do you have in the field? I know that there's an
you
app
mean our
on
Neutrona wands?
A Neutrona wands?
Yes.
Okay, you're going old school. You've got Neutrona wands, and you're walking up, and as you walk up and open the door, that's when we're going to go into our DM challenge from Subs. Thank you so much, Subs.
Thanks, Subs.
So, as you open the door, the little statue animatronic wolf jumps out and tackles you to the ground and starts trying to take some bites at you, big guy. So there's one.
Thanks so much.
That is... that is...
This is...
You might need some help.
I need all the help. Could I,
Yeah. So as long as... Oh, God. That's the grossest feeling thing in the world.
Put your hand out.
As long as the only thing that touches the brick
Is slime. I'm fine.
he's good. So he doesn't even have to have it all across the
No,
slime.
no, no.
Okay, so I just need it on the finger.
You just need a finger.
Touching.
But you're only using...
This is not going to go well. Well, it's been nice playing with y'all.
We believe in you, Eric.
Sure.
You can do it.
Maybe if you put your finger into the palm of the hand.
And then I'm pushing with a much larger...
Why not?
This is awful.
You got this. You got this. So this animatronic wolf comes out at you, and you notice that the eyes are glowing, and this wolf should not be doing what it's doing. It's sort of snarling at you. This grabs your attention. The three of you come running over, and you grab your neutrino wands, but you realize that this wolf is sort of enveloped with him at the moment. And oh my god. Subs may be the person responsible for taking someone out the fastest in a game of... Okay, you can do it. The slime
I can still only use one hand, right?
The slime is sticky.
Yeah, not sticky enough.
Okay. You can do this. It's just sticky enough that when you press it in, it's sticking to the other bricks.
This is awful.
See, thank you so much.
That's the last
You do
present I
left-handed?
get you.
Maybe you can stretch it. Yeah. And then
Does this
pull it
count
out.
as one hand?
That counts.
You got it.
Oh! Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
Nope.
You're doing fine.
Oh.
Breathe.
Don't let it hit the ground.
Okay. Oh,
Oh no.
crap.
Too much.
Nope. Give it a wrap.
I'll allow it.
Is that fine?
I'll allow
That's
it.
fine.
I'll allow
Okay.
it. Pick it up, get it on top of the tower. 'Cause you-
And it's stuck to the brick.
When when you don't need it to.
Wow.
Wait, it's not perfect. OCD.
Okay. It wasn't a clean fight.
And you've messed up that tower now.
That's how it was already messed up.
It wasn't a clean fight, but sure enough, our resident sort of bad boy, overly ambitious, kicks this animatronic wolf off of him, and this wolf sort of is a separate distance away. I need to know what you guys are doing as it's just sort of standing there, now eyeing all of you with bright yellow, glowing spectral eyes.
I said, looks like we got us a big bad.
And
We need to trap him.
And it when you start speaking, it sort of like gets low to the ground, and you can see like pieces of it that are rusted and stuff like that. There's fur on the top half, but the bottom half is all sort of like trash, refuse, rusted metal, and it starts like slowly creeping towards you, Ed.
All right, well, time to fire up this weapon that I got here.
Yeah.
I zap it with the functionality of it.
All right. So Ed's got it, and it's sort of wrapped up, and it's sort of wrangling him and fighting him a little bit, but he's got it wrapped up pretty well. Give me a drink or give me a pull to see if you maintain control over this thing or if it breaks away. This thing's a little stronger than your average sort of specter. It's
I want to
pulling.
throw one of those slime nets I made at it.
Okay, hang on. That skips the pull.
It does.
Fine.
She uses her one sort of like slime net. She hits her Ghostbusters thing.
After he does his.
No. So your good buddy hits their sort of like power up, and all of a sudden that wolf is held down to the ground, and you guys have it sort of stunned and held firmly in place. The slime starts to harden as the wand hits it, and it's just sort
I
of
roll it
locked
off
in
of me
place.
before it hardens.
Yeah. It's good. It's already on the ground. It's a little ways
Okay.
away from you. You managed to kick this thing off.
Okay.
All right. So what's next?
Keep in mind, guys, that as a class 6 lower life form, this entity, we often need to research its allergies and natural habitats in order to be able to contain it properly.
But it's metal.
The wolf?
Yes.
Well, it's
What's
in an
inside
animatronic.
it?
It's in an animatronic creature.
Correct, but
Yeah.
it may be an actual specter of a wolf. Quite often they gravitate towards things that are in the same form as them. Did you read the manual?
As you guys are
Pardon.
talking, the slime is starting to like crack a little bit as this thing is struggling against
We gotta put
the
this.
wand.
Gotta put this in the trap.
All right, let's get it in the box.
You throw out the box, hit the pedal, and the wolf, the spectral form of an actual wolf, she's right, sort of comes out and leaves the animatronic and gets pulled into the trap, and the trap closes.
Come on, guys. One in the box.
Now it locks.
Oh, God. It's one in the box, ready to go. They be fast. We be fast, and they be slow.
We
Come
gotta
on.
do the same
You
one
guys
New York
need
does.
to get out your manuals.
All right.
It's so
Thought we were
big.
Thought we're gonna do our own.
As long as we're getting paid.
Thank you, subs, so much for granting Jackie a power-up. So one time during the game,
See, it's
she
good.
can pass off a challenge to any player of her choosing.
Nice.
Look at that. Subs making enemies and making friends just as
Beat
quick.
himself.
And
Yes.
there's you guys are leaving the park, and you kind of inform him what's going on, and he actually runs up to you, Quincy, as people are sort of getting in the car and loading the equipment, and he goes, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Here's a little bonus," and he hands you like $100 and 20. So it's like, thank you for getting it done so quickly.
Pizza.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, we're always here for you. If you have any friends with any issues, you just send them our way.
Yeah. And you guys load back into the parade float, and you're headed back to the house, and you already get another blip. And this almost never happens because you do have the wolf loaded in sort of a mini containment system that you have on the parade float.
Well, of
You could
course.
probably fit one more.
There's a big float, like the float thing that's on it that's just ridiculous is its own containment system. So we've got this massive, like,
Is it a paper mache containment system that is actually a containment system? Like, have you?
Well, it was originally paper mache, but of course we had to line it in.
It's
the
a
proper
perfect
materials.
hiding place
Yeah.
for such an elaborate, possibly dangerous device.
You get a blip on the app, and everybody's phones sort of go off, and Ed, your face drops.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's your mom's house.
Guys, this is my mom's address. My mom's been haunted. We gotta go there now.
Ed doesn't even wait. Like, as he says this, you see him pulling a Yui, like with a parade float, like trying to drive this thing. And you guys sort of head off past the French Quarter, past the little like dive shops like Bud's Broiler and hamburger places and stuff like that. And you're going off into sort of like you're going off into sort of the darker, sort of seedier side of New Orleans, away from the tourists and things like that. So, thank you, Rhythmic High. It looks like an immediate challenge for somebody. As you pull up to the house, it's starting to get closer to dusk. The sun is setting, and you're past all sort of the parties and things like that. As you pull up to the house, all of the lights on the block are on, like all the street lamps and stuff like that. And Ed's house is sort of this provincial sort of mansion. It's one of these beautiful sort of places, but there's no lights on. And the street lamps outside of Ed's house are all off as well. Thank you, Rhythmic. You got an instant challenge, buddy, and you can't drink this one.
Okay.
So I'll say that, Ed, you're a little freaked out.
I am.
You jump out of the car,
Mama!
and it kind of rolls to a stop. And as you go up to the door, you instinctively go to open the door because it's your place and you're ready to see what happens. And as you reach out your hand to open the doorknob sort of like morphs out and grabs your hand like this. And as it grabs your hand, the sort of lion's head that was like as a door knocker sort of morphs down and it starts trying to bite your hand.
Door knocker.
So I need you. Subs instant obstacle for Harriet as well. So this is an instant obstacle. I need you to pull a brick for me.
Okay.
And as you go to pull the brick, you see this sort of like lion's head start trying to eat at his hand. And so, Harriet, you immediately have the wand out and you are trying to figure out a way that you can shoot at the door without hitting him. So you're aiming the wand and you step into the yard. And that's when a part of the grass starts moving beneath your feet. There's like a large bump. And another large bump, and the bumps are sort of moving in the grass, and you're sort of looking down at the ground. You manage to yank your hand back, and as you do, the lion's head goes away. But you feel the two bumps sort of circling you, and as they do, they come running towards you, and you do this sort of like lean fall backwards, and as the two bumps come together, they're gone. Like the grass sort of deflates a little bit.
And so it was just the bumps of grass, but they weren't in a shape of anything. I couldn't tell what it was.
Maybe you could. You realize that the movement pattern and the displacement of dirt, in your free time, you've been studying sort of creatures that live here because you've noticed a higher sort of...
Among other things.
You've noticed a higher sort of surge when it comes to animals native to New Orleans, and these look like rabbit displacement, but like a rabbit the size of like a Great Dane or a Rottweiler. The way the dirt was moving, the little sounds you were hearing, it looks like giant rabbit sort of moving underneath the ground.
Guys, I feel quite certain that was at least one, possibly two, probably two, Class 6 rabbit specters. However, they were quite large.
The three of you all join at the door, and Ed sort of looks at the door, and all four of you share this look together, and you pull your wands out from behind your back. And as you do, The door in front of you creaks open.
Mama?
Ed, help! Ed, help!
Mama?
Ed!
Can I get my sister to come forth and give me some advice? What might be behind the door?
The four of you slowly creep into the house.
Okay.
And as you creep into the house, your sister comes out. What's your sister's name?
Yeah.
Ed. Ed closes his eyes, and then Ed comes out. And she goes, ooh, what is going on here? Why are we at Mama's house?
She's got a haunting going on. We were notified by our app.
You don't think it's Daddy, do you?
I didn't until you said it, but that makes perfect sense.
You know Daddy ran away. Mom always said that he got caught by the law.
Yeah, but did it have anything to do with bunnies?
Did he have to? No, he didn't have anything with bunnies. But Mama had those stone bunnies out in the garden. Were they there when you walked in the house?
Well, look, let's say it is Daddy.
Okay.
What does he want?
I don't know. Hell, I didn't know Daddy that well. Maybe you should do some digging around the house.
All right.
Well, the stone bunnies, were they there or were they not there?
I'm trying to remember that. All I know is that Harriet said that there were some bunnies that were on the loose that were big ghosts.
Oh.
Am I there, or is he?
He's speaking out loud. You guys are
Okay.
like sort of walking into the house.
They appeared to be underneath the dirt. They were lifting up the areas of the grass, but they were rabbit-like in form, so it was quite possible.
Y'all are in trouble though, because Mama collects stone statues. Hell, in the entryway, she had all those she had all that bird cage, that antique bird cage.
I remember,
with the
but
birds.
I don't see it now.
What?
I don't see it now. I don't see it around me.
Alive birds?
No, statues. These beautiful statues, and they. And as Ed is speaking with Ed, these two gigantic stone birds sort of like fall from the ceiling. They're probably about as big as all of you. One lands on your chest, and you are freaked out because Jackie has, and you guys all know this, an irrational fear of birds. She
My God.
hates them. And there is this sort of like robin, and it is on your chest, and it has lifted you up off of the ground by your suit and into the air. And as it does that, Quincy just starts laughing a little bit because it's like of all the, and just as that happens, Mama's favorite bird named Fagin picks you up by the back and lifts you up into the air. So you're being lifted by the front of your suit and you're being lifted by your back. This is a showdown given to you by Audie Love. Thank you so much, Audie. So this is going to be, I don't know if this tower can take it. This is going to be
8 pulls from that tower.
4 pulls, starting with you. Explain to me what Jackie is doing as this bird is lifting her up into the air.
She's grabbing the
Fire
feet,
says-
trying to pull them off.
Fire says you got this. We've been through worse. So you can say thank you, Fire, for the encouragement.
Gentle. Slower.
There you go.
You can do it.
You got this, Mama. So what is Jackie doing?
She's grabbing the bird's feet and trying to pull them off.
Okay.
You don't sound real confident about that.
You are trying to grab at the bird's feet and pull them off, and it is just, you think you get like one claw off, but then you realize that you are now holding on to one sort of foot while dangling up into the air of this sort of like 2-story house where
How
there's this large
far
staircase.
up am I?
You're about 2 stories up. There's a chandelier pretty close to where you are. What are you doing?
I've dropped my proto on and I've reached down and fitted my brass knuckles that I had Harriet work into the proton.
Perfect.
and I start punching behind me at the leg.
You start. Oh my god! I can't believe I actually know this. You start working your triceps real good, and you start like punching this thing behind your head and stuff like that, and doing like body pump style like aerobics workout on this sort of stone bird, and you're feeling like chips of it fall. The two of you, Tracy and he, they're just sort of like running around on the ground trying to see about catching them. Should they fall? Jackie is holding on.
Can I?
Yes. Jackie is holding on by one hand to the foot of the bird, and she goes one. It's okay. It's okay. She goes 1, 2, 3, and yanks down as hard as she can, and manages to drop down so that she's just like 1 story up now, not 2 stories up. You've managed to drag it so that you're hanging not so far above the ground. Chips are starting to fall off of this thing, and you manage to gain purchase and hit the wing. And as you hit the wing of this thing, Eric, it drops you just a little bit so that you are now on the banister of the staircase, and this thing is on your chest, sort of trying to take pecks at you that way. And you're managing to block it off with the knuckles.
You got 2
2 more pulls to go.
I feel like I should say this isn't normal
1, 2, 3.
for my house.
If y'all don't mind taking your shoes off, I appreciate it. So Jackie, you are, man, you are taking your time trying to push this thing down, and
Don't help.
that was our producer, Brian. Thank you, Brian. So, D, you can say thank you to Brian. He's trying to help you from a distance. You managed to get it on the ground, and you aren't letting go of this thing. You're actually setting up Harriet for an amazing shot that you are anchoring this thing to the ground. So you say on the count of 3.
Who said don't help? Yeah, that was Eric who said don't help.
Yeah. Subs is either going to be really nice to Eric now or really mean to Eric. I'm kind of excited for either one.
I'm just gonna start drinking now.
So you time it correctly with pick it up. You time it with Harriet so that you go 1, 2, 3, and you duck out of the way. And as you duck, you set up the same thing. Eric, you go 1, 2. You're gonna double it up?
I don't think it's got 2 more bricks in it.
It's gotta.
I gotta subs. Wait, hang on. Subs. I love you. I've seen this look. Subs, do you want Eric to make this last pull with the sticky hands, or is it 2 separate pulls? Does he finish this out?
Well, technically, Audie asked for the DM challenge.
They are 2 different people.
So they are 2 different people.
Well, no, Subs just gave him a DM challenge.
It's true.
Audie did the...
So should he have to finish off Audie's polls before he does Sub's DM challenge?
They finished it. Were they supposed to do 4 each or 8 each?
4 each.
4 each.
Yeah.
There's not much.
Yeah.
He did say last pull is full, so...
Do you want to use your middle finger?
No, it's not as dexterous.
Audie says she's cool with it. Sub says he's cool.
This is not going to end well.
Nobody help him. Oh, Bubba.
I might have to go to the other side of the tower.
That's fine.
On your fingers. Use them wrap with your fingers.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Don't help him.
No, now it's fine.
I helped.
You got in this from saying don't help.
I don't think that's going to work.
Tell you what, I'll do this, guys. If anybody wants to do a challenge, since Brian is feeling so helpful tonight, you can give a challenge to Brian tonight.
Anybody
He'll jump out of the producer chair.
What happens if he knocks the tower down?
That's true.
Someone else has to produce.
Actually, if Brian knocks the tower down,
What happened?
you guys get a brand new tower.
Brian, come knock the tower over.
Oh my god.
Brian just got a TM challenge.
Do I have to finish?
You do have to pick that up. Brian, I need you to bring your A game, please. I need you to leave the computer. This is amazing.
Maya's amazing.
Brian just said you're dead to me. So as the two of you guys sort of dodge out of the way and the proton wands go off, all of a sudden, the old butler that you guys normally have here at the house.
You're in front of the camera. You
Jeez.
Oh, here you want my spot?
I'm sorry.
Chiefs comes in.
That's what fire pays for.
Chiefs comes in. The old butler. Dad. Do you want the other one just in case?
Well, I can only use one hand at a time, right?
You can only use one hand at a time. Okay. So the old butler sort of stumbles into the room and says, "Oh, what's going on?" And that's when the two stone bunnies come bursting in from outside.
I really found that grabbing it from underneath the pulling thing. That came out really wrong.
And comes in.
Oh,
What now?
jeez.
Brian makes this pull, and then he makes another one. As
Wait,
the
what happened?
first stone bunny.
Oh my God.
The first stone bunny
Wow, Aldi, thanks.
comes crashing in after this old poor butler, and you guys are just shocked as this stone rabbit jumps on top of him and just starts trying to bite at him, and this butler summons some
Oh my God.
unknown courage and unknown strength of which you haven't seen since you were a child. And Jeeves picks up the stone rabbit. Picks up the stone rabbit.
Oh gosh.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, jeez.
Do it.
Oh.
Do it.
Now you gotta get back up there.
Oh, I know.
Picks up the stone bunny and chucks it as hard as he can at the wall. You guys really did not set him up for success with that.
God.
We're still in Act 1. And as Jeeves sort of smashes the bunny against the wall, another one jumps on his shoulders. And
Damn bunnies.
damn bunnies! And
Jeez, that's a bad bunny, Jeeves.
and he
Hang
picks
there.
up a silver serving tray. He picks up a silver serving tray and just starts bashing this thing over the head repeatedly. And all of four of you are frantically waving at Jeeves and telling him to move out of the way.
Out of the way, Jeeves.
You can hit this thing with the proton packs.
I just hit my net because I don't want Jeeves crushed by this.
No, well, you can't.
Well,
Can I at this point?
you try to hit it, but there's a little electrical malfunction. I know you want to. You're like, sometimes it works, and sometimes it's hit or miss. You'll have to talk to her about it after you're done.
Hey, we can have words.
So as Jeeves picks up the serving tray and hits it as hard as he can.
Oh, jeez. You've got to be kidding me.
Jeeves bursts this thing and says, "I'm retiring!" And he grabs his suitcase. Let's give a round of applause for Jeeves the butler. And for these two having to do. You guys have burst all of the statues, all of the sort of creatures in this room, and as you bust them out, you realize that there's a second floor to the house to explore. There is a room cordoned off, upstairs, and it was your daddy's.
Why is there police tape still on that door?
Your mom locked that door. She
Okay.
told you kids that you're never supposed to go in there.
Mom, are you here somewhere? All right, let's go up to the door.
All four of you go upstairs, and you're paying attention to sort of sounds and sort of things around you. And you guys are noticing some stuff that's really common in a haunted house sort of setting, like the floor sort of moving or the creaking sounds, paintings that are sort of like reaching out, spectral hands coming out of paintings. But this is old hat to you guys. This isn't this isn't like that big of a deal.
But it's not normally in my house.
It's not normally in your house, and so you're still a little freaked out by this. The lights are starting to flicker. The four of you gather by the door, and the three of you sort of give expectant looks to Ed. As Ed, you come up to the door that you were forbidden from opening as a child, and you turn the handle. And as you turn the handle, the door slides open, and there is an eerie quiet that takes over the house. And everybody takes like a breath out, and you can see your breath in the air in front of you. It's almost like a cold sort of, the temperature in the room has dropped a few degrees. And as you walk into the room, you see a man lying in the bed. Cold, still, skin sort of like a pale blue color, and his arms are crossed in front of him, and he's just laying in the bed. He's wearing a suit like you'd be buried in. But his hands are crossed in front of him, and his eyes are closed, and the room is covered in this faint layer of dust, except for the person on the bed. There's no dust anywhere on them. He's just sort of laying there, arms crossed in front.
Is that your daddy?
Dad. Looks like it. But those rabbits that were running around the house look like the stone rabbits we used to have outside. I mean, may or may not be really him. I won't know unless I get closer.
Did he get buried?
Well, you know, there was a box, but it was closed.
Did you put the box under the ground?
The box was buried. Yes, I think. I mean, I didn't do it myself. We're at a funeral home. I mean, a graveyard. You know, they do it for you. But I saw it go into the ground. I didn't see it get buried. I definitely didn't see him say, "Excuse me, y'all. I got somewhere I gotta be back at the house." That did not happen. He did not come back to the house, as far as I
To you,
understand.
anyway.
Well, he's your
Can
daddy.
I
Go
take
check it
any
out.
scans to see if this is a body, or if it's giving off any sort of
EMF? Like
yeah,
an
and
EMF?
yes.
Okay. This thing's going nuts.
Oh man. Well,
You're not seeing any signs of life. Nobody's seeing this thing breathe. It's still arms crossed, but your EMF meter is reading super high.
And if I triangulate the EMF, it is coming off of the body itself.
No.
and this room is very cold.
It's not coming off of the body?
Nope. It's coming from the closet.
From the closet?
It's coming from the closet.
No.
So the three of you are sort of looking at this body, and Harriet is sort of wandering around with this meter. And we're going to do this blindfolded pull, leading us right into intermission. As go ahead, Harriet, grab the blindfold. You can choose one person here to sort of tell you what's happening. So Harriet, you're walking around, you're triangulating, and you're absentmindedly walking towards the closet.
Yeah.
And as you walk towards the closet, you're feeling warmth coming from the closet. And that's when two hands, you think they're hands, grab you by the shoulders and start yanking you back towards the closet, which is now this sort of like swirling different portal leading to somewhere else. And as you see this happening, you are trying to fight these hands off of you and get your wand out in time.
All right, Eric.
Okay.
Give me a hand.
I have not seen the blindfold.
Okay. Go a little higher, higher.
There's one about 4 layers down.
4 layers down. Okay, go higher, higher. One more level. Your thumb is even with that layer right now.
Is it that one? Is it that
That
one?
is the layer, yes. Very careful, it's wobbling. Very, very, very slowly.
Oh my God. Oh, slow.
Okay. So, the way that it just was is the right way to put it back on. You're going to want to go over more over, and down. Very, very slowly down.
Harriet pulls out her wand and she manages to shoot this portal, and whatever being that was trying to drag her in stops dragging her. And as the portal shuts down, the body on the bed sits up. He's like, "Son, I came to warn you.
Daddy.
It's the graveyard. It's the graveyard. Somebody's..."
Daddy, you're not in the graveyard, you're in the house.
"No, I know. Somebody's raising the bodies." And
Were you in the graveyard? People have been asking.
the windows on the room blow out. And as they do, the four of you rush over to these...
Rush to the intermission button. Sorry. You're back on.
You see the city of New Orleans itself spread out in front of you. You see the parades happening down the street. You even see the flashing lights. And you are back. You see everything spread out in front of you. And in the distance, you see the big sweeping graveyard with all of the stone gargoyles and the graveyards that draw people in for tours. And that same vortex that was in the closet is swirling above it. And you are seeing thousands upon thousands of ghosts coming down from the portal into the graveyard. And not too far away, you see a parade. And you see the polar opposites of death and light and life and music. And you see that you have about 10 minutes to interpose yourself between life and death, because that's what a Ghostbuster does. And that's where we take our intermission. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. We'll get our drinks. Keep messing with the players. I'm so proud of each and every one of you audience members. And I will say, if we had an after credit scene, Jeeves, the butler, goes to his car, opens it up, and in the trunk, he pulls out a dusty, faded Ghostbusters jumpsuit. And that's our post-credit scene. We'll see you guys after the intermission. Thanks, John. And we are back. Thank you so much. I am going to get a little sappy on you really quick because thank you guys so much for coming back from intermission. I hope you got something to drink and got to use the restroom. This show in particular, more than any other show, we couldn't do without you guys. It's all of us sitting in our room playing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got producers, but there's always an extra seat here at the sofa for our audience. And we occasionally get messages about how much the show means to people, how much the channel means to people, especially people that are going through hard times. So I just want to say thank you because this show means so much to me and so much to the players. But as the creator, as the writer, as somebody that's been there from the jump, when I hear that it means something to somebody that's going through something hard, or that we bring a little bit of joy to your Saturday nights, or that you take money and play games with us and contribute to the channel and just hanging out in the chat and being with us, it warms my heart. So I don't think I expressed that enough during the season finale, so I'll take the time now to say thank you. Thank you for taking your time and spending it with us here at the sofa. We love you guys. All of that being said, let's kill a butler. During the intermission, apparently Subs wants to see the butler die. So here is what happens. The four of you go tearing out from the house, and as you go tearing out from the house, you have your proton packs. You're going out the front door, and as you do that, you see your old sort of butler growing up and stuff like that. Jeeves is trying to channel his younger self. He's got his sort of proton pack on, and it looks like a prototype that he may have bought off the internet. And as he does that, he's taken his sort of really strong prescription glasses off and put them down. He slicked back his white hair that is sort of like so this old man is standing there. So as you guys come tearing out of the house and you say, Jeeves looks over at you and says, "A ghost!" and pulls out his proton pack and like takes a shot. The three of you duck, and you say, "Duck!" And then as you say duck, you get them out of the way and you go running forward to try to tackle Jeeves to the ground so he doesn't kill any of your friends. So if we're up and running, Doc, I need you to come over. And then Eric, if you could scoot over just a little bit, we're going to do 4 pulls each.
4 pulls each.
So one of you is going to die. We just don't know which one.
Every time we say that, somehow we survive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's going to work this time.
4 pulls each. And who
You
starts?
go one, I
You
go
go,
one,
you go first. So as you're running towards him, you see a blast that's coming forward towards you, and you.
It's all wobbly.
Oh man!
Oh gosh! Look up! Like there's one, like literally on the
Here.
4th row.
Just
Don't
just relax. I'm just trying to
Yeah, no.
get a sense of this thing.
It's not good.
Okay.
No, I can't do
No,
that
you
one.
can't do that one.
Can't do that
But
one?
one more down, you're okay.
This one,
Okay.
the next one right there, that one you can do. Absolutely.
Yeah, I cannot. It is not.
No?
It is
Well,
not a
then.
friendly tile.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
It may be that you going first was not the best choice. I think he thought there was still one more in there.
Maybe.
Oh, I like that. No.
Oh no.
Gosh.
No, none of those are even valid. There, you get that one.
All right.
That's the only one.
It's the only one that.
Is even like feasible.
You can do it easy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this
Oh.
Crazy,
Gently, gently.
bro. Name it. No heavy breathing. Jackie. Okay. You see a bolt of energy sort of flying your way. And as it does, you manage to dodge off to the side, and it flies past you and it hits the front door.
Don't tackle me, you idiot kid. I'm trying to save your life.
And you do another sort of like dodge off to the side. That's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only viable. Oh my god. Another dodge off to the side is Jeeves. The proton pack sort of gets away from him, and now it is firing. It is firing off, and it is going a whole bunch of different directions because it's just.
the middle one. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, none of them are.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
The tower got secured at some point.
Or did it?
No, it just balances differently.
You got this. You got
Oh
this.
god. Is this 4?
This is 3.
This is 3.
Oh.
My gosh.
That's awesome.
You can do it, Brian.
No, I don't like that. Come back to it.
Jeeves finally gets control over the wand, and you guys are sort of wrestling over this. As you're wrestling over it, you manage to do the
No.
safety turn off switch, and the power cuts off. But Jeeves is still fighting for control, using his sort of
One
wily.
more, Heath. One more. You can do it.
We were all talking about what are the odds of the tower getting as large as it got?
I'm gonna use a cat for that.
Cat.
And the tower falls. Just as this sort of blast of energy comes ricketing out from the graveyard, and it sends everybody reeling backwards. And as it does, Ed has a split second to realize that he needs to do something because it's not just Ed sharing Ed's body. It's Ed and Et sharing the body.
Oh my
so
God.
Ed,
I know it's happening.
Ed sort of finds a way to metaphysically push himself to the forefront, and he gets pushed outward and away and sort of sucked up into this vortex, and Ed is gone. But Ed is very much alive,
Oh my God.
and she is pissed.
Oh, you're gonna get it now.
And Ed, what does Ed do to this butler that has been fighting her brother?
Smack!
She smacks him across the face and sends the fear of God himself coursing through that old butler's bones. And what does she say?
You old fool. What are you thinking? Putting on a jumpsuit in the middle of the road.
You guys don't see Ed anymore. I mean, you see Ed, but Ed's mannerisms has changed. The way he holds himself is completely different. He even takes his shirt and he looks at his shirt and he goes, "Oh, what the hell?" and fixes and adjusts himself. Ed is gone, but Ed is very much alive, as it will, and she is driving the car from now on. So Ed, unfortunately, does not know how to drive the float. So who is stepping up to drive the float to the graveyard?
I can drive.
Thank you.
You're going to have to make a pull for me because you've never driven the float before. Okay. You're going to have to do a pull and a drink or 2 pulls.
Are we aware that his sister, this whole thing with his sister, that he...
You were aware that he used to channel his sister and talk to her, but you don't... You can ask who... If you see a change in Ed right now.
Ed, you appear to be acting differently. Can you please identify yourself and who you are right now? Because I have some concerns.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
Did you say Ed?
Yes, I said Ed. That is your name.
It's not here anymore. Where Ed? It's just me. It's just Ed.
Guys,
Where's Ed?
I'm concerned here that we have some sort of demonic possession. That is a class
Now
7.
Hold on a second. I used to share this space, and my roommate has gone.
He had a sublease of Ed's space.
It's fair to say he was evicted in a way that he was not prepared for. It's just Ed in here now. There's no possession.
Can he be brought back? That's his body.
Well, I think that's where he went.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this body is Ed, correct?
It's Ed's body.
And Ed resided within his body, correct?
We were both here. But this idiot over here, dressed up in his Halloween costume, caused Ed to get bumped out, and I'm alone in here now.
So the form that was possessing Ed has now taken over Ed. I restate my point. This is a class 7 entity right here.
I wasn't possessing him. We were...
Well, haven't you ever noticed how
He's
whenever
my
we
brother.
watch movies and stuff, when they get all girly, Ed would get all effeminate and cry?
Well, that wasn't me.
That wasn't you?
He's his own man. I don't judge.
Somebody make a poll for me. Just so our audience knows, these towers are a lot less refined than the one we were using. These are the same towers
This tower sucks.
Tracy made 3 pulls on, and the tower fell.
Oh, no.
Would you like me to make another one? Because I can. Maybe not. I may have spoken to you soon.
Sure, you volunteered.
Yeah.
Yes, and please.
Sure. Might as well have fun with this, right? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, Ed's not breathing. She's walking. She's moving around. She's there.
If you could not stare, that would be much appreciated.
Could you take a deep breath for me?
Look, my name is Ed Touffet. I am Ed's sister.
All right, Et Touffet, could you take a deep breath for me?
I'm not really sure how to do that. This body's resistant. We don't have.
If it doesn't need to breathe, it's a ghost.
No.
Might I say we
stand
might?
with you.
Might I say we might have something a little larger to look into over here?
As
Maybe the this situation isn't as big a deal.
As Quincy says that, you see these sort of cracks start appearing in the ground in front of you. And
Is that?
Ectoplasm?
starts bubbling out of the cracks that are starting to appear in the ground.
I'm with him. That is the priority.
What about all those ghosts coming?
That
Need these
is also
people.
the priority. But everything else
We have
but me.
3 priorities?
No, I'm not a priority.
I would say he's a priority too. We have 3 priorities.
Oh, man.
Here's the deal. Without her,
Thank you.
we're on our own. If this gets out of hand, I'll slime net it.
Can I just say I'm here to help? I am not a malevolent force. Does that help at all?
Not really.
He does have a slime net left, so perhaps if we remove the nuclear device from him, her,
Does she know all of
It's just she.
we could leave it
Her.
with a slime net, and then perhaps later we can figure out.
So take the proto wand,
Well, the neutron wand.
that thing.
Yes.
Look, fine. You want everything? Fine. You go. I don't even know how to use this stuff anyway. Here's your little net thing.
No, you can keep that.
What if I
just push
It's
a button?
attached to your clothes.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
please keep the jumpsuit on. Thanks. Don't need to see that part of it.
Her. Look, this
Ed's
is
body.
I'm very uncomfortable. Well, Ed's probably covered by HR rules that protect him from discrimination by sexual whatevers. So y'all just settle down, okay, before I get all stinky on you. Can we
Are
take
we
care of
good
the
now?
monster?
All right,
Yeah,
step
can we-
1, we need to contain the ectoplasm. Step 2, we need to contain all of that. And step 3, we need to figure out what is happening here. So I would say perhaps if we begin by containing all of that, it might be a good place to start. This is really overwhelming. There's a lot that's
Well, let's
going
talk
on.
about it more.
Parade? Turn them around?
What?
Turn the parade around. That never happens.
What else we do?
If we tell them what's coming.
Make a pull for me. You don't have to. All pulls are always voluntary. But if you want to make a pull for me, you can make a pull for me.
Gee, oh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Nothing.
You know what happened, right?
Yep.
What happened?
Subs is becoming the new big bad of season 2 of Drunken Dread. So you
And
realize
Eric's personal nightmare.
you realize that you can't turn a parade around. There's too many tourists and too many things. However, there is a sort of central point. There is sort of like this big sort of park that's in between the parade route and where the cemetery is, and that you could use that as sort of a funneling point, like a channeling point.
Yeah, we
at
put
a
up
cer-
blockades and
you
make
put-
them go off.
You put a blockade, but you stand there as the 3 of you with your packs. Like you could be able to mount a defense from this point. Do you express that to the group?
Yes.
She expresses.
You hear that, guys?
She expresses that to the group, and Jackie displays this sort of confidence that you normally don't see in her, and gets on the parade float and says, "You coming?"
You coming?
Yeah.
Let's swerve them off.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can
Yes, and I
come
have
on.
an idea.
What?
All right. So the giant float can contain ghosts.
Right.
And so if we hook up our traps to the float, it can condense it enough to where we might be able to suck all the entities in this area into the giant parade float. They couldn't be contained for very long, no more than an hour or so, but it would give us time to get them back to headquarters and get them into containment.
As a ghost myself, I should say ghosts like beads.
I was not aware of that. That's not something my uncle had ever shared with me.
Do we have
Is
enough?
it just ghosts in New Orleans?
Just ghosts in New Orleans.
All right, that makes more sense because
Yes.
I'm not sure if the New York ghosts were
Everybody
part of the
seems to be
beads.
crazy about beads in New Orleans, especially ghosts.
Quincy, you kind of cock your head at this conversation, and there's a part of you that has always been in this for the money. It's been a very lucrative venture, but as they're talking and you're sort of seeing your city sort of being torn apart literally, your city's been through a lot. Your town has been through a lot, and you're not going to let it be taken away while stuff actively acts against it. So, Quincy does something he's never done. He jumps into the driver's seat, guns the engine, and proceeds to go realize that by the time you guys get to the park, it'll be too late. There's the way the city is deteriorating. The only way to do this is to drive the float the opposite direction of the parade and interweave throughout the other floats.
Like sucking ghosts as he goes?
Sucking ghosts as he goes. Any of them that have managed to find their way into the parade.
I'll go onto the side and toss beads.
Yes. And Ed...
He's getting really good at this DM challenge.
Ed decides that what she is going to do is she is going to throw beads at the ghost, and the ghost...
Oh my god! That was insane!
Here,
Do something else.
Battlestar that was all Doc over there. He's going to be a pro at sticky hands. Wow.
Say thank you, son.
Congratulations.
You can ask some of Eric's boyfriends. He's already a pro at sticky hands.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Dude, you're getting insanely good at this. There you go. So he's interweaving in throughout the traffic, and as that's happening, you're automatically sort of grafting on the fly, Harriet, and you're actually excited for the challenge of being able to turn this thing into sort of this floating ghost magnet. And as it drives past the place and as it gets close, you see the ghost is sort of like sucked into it, and the tourists and the
If I lose.
tourists and the parade goers actually think this is part of the parade. This is nuts. As this is happening, the three of you and Et on top, as she's throwing beads to everybody, you manage to make your way to the park, and you are swerving to a stop in order to get this thing into a path, and you see a literal army in all sort of different forms of dress and in size and shape, making its way towards all of you. The three of you pull out your wands, and you're standing there in front of the parade float, sort of flanking it. Et also forms a very
You don't have one.
menacing
I
stance as she has a bunch of beads in her hand. And as this happens and the army sees you, there's a shape that sort of walks forward. And as it walks forward, it looks at you. It looks at you. It looks at you, and it's a hooded figure. And as the hooded figure sort of steps forward, it splits into three distinct shapes. And in one of the shapes, it looks like your uncle. And he's standing there, and you hear this ghostly whisper in the back of your head. And it's going, "You failed as a Ghostbuster. You messed this up for all of us. The city of New Orleans will fall, and the name will be remembered. Spengler will be remembered for all time as being the one who let Armageddon happen." And as this ghostly whisper is happening, all you hear for some strange reason is little like bird sounds and tweets and little whistles in the back of your head. And you don't hear anything, but you feel a pull, almost like a magnet towards you. And Quincy, you're a little faster on the uptake. You have your wand out, and just as you're about to fire it, the black hooded cloaked figure doesn't remove the cloak. It stares at you and it says, "You know what this is, Quincy, right? You're just playing pretend. You're still the same scared little boy looking for the boogeyman under your bed. You're not a hero, Quincy. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and you're still going to be the money-grabbing fool that would trade his mother for some money. You know that, right, Quincy? You can put on the suit and you can play pretend all you want, but you are still and always will be a scared little boy.
I put my proto wand in my back of my pack. I pull out my 2 proton brass knuckles,
Okay?
and I say, "That little boy done grown up. Roulez-vous bon temps." And I slam them together, crossing the beams, and all 3 of them blast back.
Okay, this is where we start pulling bricks, kids. Starting with Quincy. Quincy, you're going to be pulling bricks, and this is going to be a bit of a speed round.
Okay.
You guys pull bricks until I tell you to stop going in a circle. You don't have to pull bricks, but it's saving you. So actually, I'll call out people. Quincy, as you run forward and you blast forward with your 2 sort of brass knuckles, you slam them together, and everybody is kind of pushed backwards.
Okay.
But as that happens, you hear an otherworldly scream as the portal up above pulses a little bit. D, you can
got a
always use a power up
power-up.
here and say thank you
Makes
subs
me
and
full.
choose to skip this poll if you would like.
So I have to pull 2. Thank you, subs.
So you realize something. You're like, oh, birds is a stupid thing to be afraid of, and you just start running forward and blasting ghosts in the different sort of ages. Your spectral image is gone, Harriet, and you immediately start blasting away at ghosts because you realize that you are a Ghostbuster. You are not just the niece of someone famous. You are your own unique individual. So as you run forward, you are blasting ghosts. You see a ghost in sort of colonial garb that you hit, and as you hit it, it's just enough power to knock this thing closer to the float. And as it gets close to the float, in a weird sort of twist of events, Et throws a set of beads towards the float behind her, and a bunch of ghosts rush past. I'll allow it. A bunch of ghosts rush past Et, trying to chase the beads, and about 7 of them get sucked into the float at the same time. And Et's like, "See, I told y'all ghosts love beads. Y'all didn't see it?" And this just becomes a recurring thing as you run forward. Bam! You're punching things, smacking them, and it's just enough power to disrupt their hold on the earth. And the 4 of you are rushing forward. Et, at one point, gets surrounded on all sides, and she kind of like looks at everybody, and she goes to look like she's going to flash them, like because it's New Orleans. But instead, she hits the little net, and the net flies. God, this tower.
Keith is about to die twice.
You don't need to pull. You don't need to pull if you don't want to.
I did pull 2.
You did pull 2 last
Go
time.
ahead. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Jackie, you are running forward, and unbeknownst to everyone else, because you are the person in charge of uniforms, you have installed 2 nets onto yours, and it surprises the hell out of everybody when you find you hit that second patch, and this net comes out, and you actually give the bird, which is ironic to all the ghosts in front of you, as the net sort of flies out and smashes them to the ground. You see something off in the distance, Harriet. You see one of the sort of larger sort of crypts, and it is glowing, and you see that the portal that is opened up above has directed a channel directly to that particular crypt or mausoleum. And you shout above the din that you need to make your way toward that. So everybody stop pulling for a second. As Harriet shouts this out, the ghosts have started sort of swarming around you, but they are so close to you now that they're getting sucked into the what you have created as the containment center in the float. And now there is this odd beam of energy as like the ghosts are getting sucked in to this, but there's sort of a never-ending stream of ghosts coming from the crypt, and it's causing almost this white our blue line to form. As the ghosts stop taking a spectral form and just start becoming like a beam of pure energy, and you realize that the containment is going to hit a max soon, and that right now, even though the ghost can't take spectral form, you need to figure out the source of this thing and stop it now.
Guys, there's only one explanation for this. Actually, there's two. They're either weakening or they're strengthening. I'm not quite sure which it is.
Great.
How can we figure out which one
We need to find the source of this thing so that we can cut it off.
You go further into the graveyard.
Can I detect the source?
Yes, you can.
Do I have any simpatico?
Ooh, I'll let
feeling?
you. I was going to make her pull 2, but yeah, we'll say using your natural ghostly sort of connection to the spirit realm, she only has to do 1.
Okay.
She doesn't have to pull. She could also take a drink.
But where's the fun in that? Oh, that might be more fun. That might be way more fun. I might have to.
This one here.
Yeah,
This was doing really well.
yeah.
Oh, no, I can't take that one.
Oh, don't try to fix it.
You could do.
Nope.
Down one level.
Down one in
Yeah,
the on back.
one.
In the
The
back.
far one.
That one.
That one was.
This one?
No, all the way back. That one's
That
one
one
came out.
it was
easily.
kinda right, but then I took the one under it, which might have
Yeah, no.
firmed that one up a little bit. So at the
You discover the source pretty easily. There's a really large crypt in the center, and it almost looks like if the cemetery were built in a circular pattern, this would be at the center. And you're good with shapes, and you've looked at some of the maps and some of the topography of New Orleans to look for strange symbols and things like that. And you realize that this thing is something that you've seen before. It's sort of at the apex. It's at the center of a sort of like spiraling circle outward. And this particular crypt is at the center of it.
Have you noticed the patterns on the crypts? There is a crypt that is at the apex of the circumference of the crypt layout. And in the configuration as it is, this should be the apex of that and should thus be the focal point of the energy.
Sweetie,
okay, so
just
now
tell us
all
where to
that
go.
again. Put it in.
Just tell us where to go. Just
We
point.
are going to need to bring the float to this central point right here by bringing in any negative energies in this central point. It should bring everything else in and take care of the source of the problem.
Who's in that crypt?
Let's go get the thing.
That's an excellent idea. Can we read and see who's in the crypt?
So you're going to get real close to it?
Well, it was your idea.
It doesn't really matter who's in it right
You asked. Go ahead. Go closer.
You think this could work? You absolutely think this could work if you manage to sort of like, because right now there's energy coming down and it's being pulled towards the float. You could pull the float towards and it would cut it off. So you think absolutely this could work. This could totally work. And as you think absolutely this could work, this could totally work, that's when there is a large like scream behind you as a gargoyle, stone gargoyle, sort of awakens and it shakes off. And as it does, it looks like it's crying, Harriet. But instead of tears, it is that same sort of ectoplasm. It is a slime that you are very familiar with, but it is not one that you guys have seen. It is not green. It is not clear. It is a pink, red, gurgling sort of slime that you have only seen about in pictures, and you've seen a sample of it.
This is the emotion stuff? This is the stuff that reacts to emotions?
And as you say that, this thing screams, and it is this guttural, like, as it like lunges forward towards you.
Guys, this is the pink ectoplasm. This is the stuff that reacts to emotions. We all need to be very, very calm. It would actually be better if we could be feeling happy right now. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
We're supposed to be happy. There's a gargoyle with conjunctivitis.
I know. But this is where
with
in New York, the team had to get the Statue of Liberty and the singing and the people and the joy, and they could make it go away, but this is
Wait a
going to
second.
be a very difficult thing here.
Y'all, we got all the makings for parade right here.
We do.
We got a bunch of people.
You're dealing
And
with
they're in a
something
good
little
mood.
more pressing as that gargoyle goes slamming towards you as you're explaining all of this.
All right, guys, let's get the parade going. You can get this. I'm going to take care of the gargoyle.
If it's a
I might
matter of
die.
driving recklessly, I'll go get the vehicle and I'll drive over here.
I will try not to die
You go
during
get
this
the
process.
vehicle, the two of you go running off, and Harriet, you are sort of facing down this stone gargoyle.
I'm going to call this gargoyle Subs.
As
That's just the nickname I'm giving him.
Harriet burst out an invention as you guys are running away that you guys have not seen before. It is something that like is sort of unique. You guys know that Harriet in her downtime, in her 10 minutes that she allots herself on a Tuesday, likes to play role-playing games. And it is of no surprise to you when Harriet pulls out what looks to be a small hilt from her back pocket and presses a button on the hilt, and it it turns into a giant longsword, and she holds the longsword up. Harriet, you never put a stop to the longsword, and this thing just keeps going and going. And going. Oh yeah, I was supposed to. And this thing sort of falls backward as you're holding it, and it gets you. It takes out the gargoyle. Absolutely, Subs is dead.
Worth it!
And as Subs the gargoyle perishes, sending out his last sort of scream into the ether, you feel yourself sort of leaving your body, and then immediately start flowing back towards your body, and as you're getting back towards your body, the portal starts pulling you again, and you are caught in this weird sort of nexus until you stop on the second stone gargoyle. And you feel that slime sort of take hold, and you are now in the body of the stone gargoyle. Cool. So all of that being said, we will rectify that in just a second. Jackie, you have been granted another pass from Subs. This is your second one. So we'll say this. Jackie and Quincy, you are running forward, and let's say that there's a huge sort of stand, and you guys are trying to make your way through the crowds of people, but there's a large area sort of where the king and the queen are sitting, and you can talk on the microphones. So you are pushing people out of the way, and for some reason, the fates are on your side. You are managing to sort of like squeeze in between people, but Quincy, you are experiencing no such luck. So you are going to have to make two pulls here. Okay. One for her and one for you, just to make sure that you can get up onto the stage and security doesn't detain you as you do this. You are managed to make your way up onto the stage fairly easily. And you grab the microphone, and what do you say to everybody?
Are we going to let them take our town? Who throws a better party than Louisiana?
Nobody!
Right.
And you grab the scepter from the king, and you start something called a second line, where you just start walking away, and you start clapping your hands, and you lead this second line of people through the graveyard.
Right.
They don't know what's going on, but everybody's too drunk to question you.
Do I have an umbrella?
You have an umbrella as well. So as that's happening, let's go over to Et, who is driving the vehicle. Et, I need you to make a pull for me, or take a little bit of a drink.
I'll take a drink.
There you go. And Et, you managed to drive this bad boy all the way over to where the portal has opened up, and sure enough, slime is starting to pour out of this mausoleum. And
This place is disgusting.
And as you say that, a stone gargoyle comes barreling.
And pulls 15 bricks out of there for you guys.
And it comes barreling out.
Do we recognize the stone gargoyle?
You don't recognize this stone
Even
gargoyle.
this sort of.
Huh.
Keep away from its eyes.
All right. How about this? You guys close your eyes.
Okay.
Trace, pull a number of bricks for me.
Any number? Okay.
Trace. No. So the gargoyle stops. You two have sort of caught up, and you're leading this second line down. The gargoyle sort of starts growing in size, and you see the conjunctivitis sort of seeping out of the eyes, the ears, the nose, and this thing makes eye contact with all three of you.
Can I open my eyes?
Not yet. This thing makes eye contact with all three of you, and you can feel a presence start to burrow deep inside of you as it's trying to sort of take control over your body. Tracy is pulling a number of bricks. In order to maintain your control of your body, you need to match that number of bricks. But I'm not going to tell you what that number is.
What?
Hey, how many?
Sorry.
Did you?
I did look. I don't.
So you're going to have to do
Right.
one.
What she said.
Okay, so we're going to start with Eric. Eric, draw a number of bricks anywhere between 1 and 10. And I'll even say you can pull one under how many she just pulled, and you still maintain control over your body.
Can't look yet.
You're leading this group of people, and as you're leading this group of people, the slime is starting to pulsate, and you can look now. Both of you can look. You are feeling the sort of good energy of the people of New Orleans sort of like gravitate towards you, and you realize that something happens in New Orleans and in Louisiana that isn't a common thing, is that when a funeral procession happens, the first part of the funeral procession is a very sad affair. It is a time where you mourn the passing. Then the funeral procession gets to a certain point, and there's a celebration that occurs. The music becomes uplifting. It becomes raucous, and is a celebration of that person meeting their final reward. And you realize that shift in emotion and that shift in tone has year after year after year kept this river of slime at bay. It's been this good energy, the good fight that the people of New Orleans have done that has kept everything in its place.
So one last, right?
Okay. You're up next. As you feel that, you feel this presence start to enter into your mind. You push it back outward with this sense of triumph and joy. You manage to channel a part of you that you didn't know existed. You activate your net. Both of your nets, you have nothing to go on, but you're holding that umbrella and you feel the joy and the love of the city of New Orleans sort of radiating towards you, and you're starting to push that presence back as well. It's happening more and more, but it's becoming more and more difficult for you as you go forth.
Nope.
It's becoming a bit of a trial, and you're having trouble holding on to it. You're starting to listen to the music, but you're hearing like this weird sort of heartbeat in your head that's not your heartbeat. And it is pushing on and on. And as the music gets louder and louder, it is a competition, a cacophonous competition as it happens, and it pushes you outward, and you have ditched your proton packs at the moment now. Et is still on the float throwing beads to people because now she's got an audience and she's just trying to entertain people as they come by. She's woo, and as she's screaming and hollering, she feels a hand on her shoulder, and it is the ghostly form of Ed standing there next to her. And And Ed goes, "Ooh, sis, you did good." He's like, "How would you feel about
many
me
did I
jumping back in there? How
4?
many did you pull?"
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think you just pulled 4.
And I have to pull how many I think you might have pulled, right?
Or 1 under that.
Or 1 under that. Okay, then that's all I'm going to pull. No, wait a minute. I think.
Ed,
Well, of course you can come back in.
Ed-
I've missed you.
Ed hugs you, and Ed is back in the driver's seat. But Ed, you are still there, and he takes a long breath in. And as this slime sort of pulses outward, you see a spectral hand sort of reach out. And as that reaches towards you, you stare at it, and it shakes. And then all of a sudden, that slime just sort of dissipates and falls to the ground. And you're good.
Pope?
You're good. No, because
Oh,
you
no,
and Ed
Oh, yeah.
and Ed have gotten back together. And as that happens and that slime sort of pulsates out, you fight back and hear you hear the music of the city of New Orleans playing in your ear too. And then all of a sudden, Harriet, you're back in gargoyle form. Your body is long since gone, and you have too many morals but you realize that, man, this isn't such a horrible life. Like, you could probably still provide support
Can I talk?
and comfort. You can talk.
Can you make a gargoyle-size Ecto-1 suit?
Anything.
All right, thank you. That's the part. But like a suit.
Oh, yeah.
That fits. Okay.
As you say that, the parade goes outward, and the portal starts to close around you, and the crypt sort of starts to shake and sort of crumbles in upon itself. And the city of New Orleans sort of turns and looks, and there is an image of the 3 of you standing there and a small stone gargoyle, like kind of floating above your heads. And there is a sound of triumph and joy as the city of New Orleans and possibly the world is saved, thanks to the combined efforts of the Ghostbusters
New Orleans.
and the new Slimer.
I put beads on her horns.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session of Drunken Dread. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. It's definitely not the image I thought we were going to get at the end of this thing. We had a couple of places that we didn't go to, but that's okay because these 4 told an amazing, fun story. We almost killed a butler tonight. We saved a city. We fought some slime and
Threw some beads.
and Jackie fought some birds,
Yeah.
and she won while giving the bird.
The bird
And as much as Eric tried, he just couldn't be an asshole. He's too nice of a guy. So, all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning into Drunken Dread. Like I said, we could not do this without you, our fans. Next week, the second episode of season 2. You know what? I realized something today that I had not touched upon a particular monster that I was a huge fan of, and I really should have given some notice and respect to. So we've talked about werewolves, we've done zombies, we've done ghosts, we've done aliens. There's one of the big ones that I haven't done yet, and that's vampires. I'm big into vampires, big in sort of the dark mythos of vampires, and so I'm trying to figure out, how do I do vampires? How do I have a group of players fighting vampires? That's not fun to me. What is fun to me is a group of vampires fighting off slayers.
Nice.
And trying to take over the world.
Sounds like a fiasco.
Does sound like a fiasco. So next week, tune in for vampires, possibly absinthe, and a whole bunch of other surprises next week. No sparkles, I can guarantee. Just good old vampire killing. And Eric, I'm going to make you a bad guy.
Okay.
It's going to happen. You'll probably find a way to screw it up.
Probably.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to Tracy, Diana, Eric, and our newbie Heath. Thank you so much for breaking them in, guys. Griff, we love you guys. Join us in Discord. Tell your friends. Follow us on Twitch. We want that drunken cooking show. 2 more followers. Tell your friends. Love you. Good night, Dreadites. We'll see you soon.